a very early look for week 4 of the NFL season. It's look, it's been fun so far. This is the week where I always say that I start getting things going. And sorry. Anyway, so sorry with that. Let's.
You right there?
Yeah, sorry. It was something I thought was a site problem, but we're all good. And Sheets, any overall thoughts? I guess it's kind of early to have overall thoughts, but wanted to ask you anyway.
No, I want to add a couple of things. So one of the things that I'm doing in addition to this is we're going to be doing the game by game breakdown here, and what I'm also doing is I'm going to be doing a first look at the at lineup builds video where I use the new sim contest stuff, which I'm learning about as week to week, and part of the way I learn is by doing. So I actually did the video already, and I'm going to be putting it up after this, and sharing people what the early builds look like as opposed to what they look like when you factor in what types of contests you're in, which I think is going to be interesting. Yeah. And I'm going to be doing a little more of that for most of the sports as we go on and as we get into NBA and all that stuff as well. So just a little announcement.
Yep. And I think that last week was like probably the perfect example of make sure you're entering your contests the right way, and I'll start focusing on that a little bit more when I do my builds and stuff, because I do think that playing single entry made a lot more sense to play like the Herbert Cousins stacks than it did anywhere else last week. So I just want to throw that out there. All right. I'm going to be bouncing around. So you're probably going to be starting most of these because all the games start at the same time.
But you can start. Tell me you could start whatever.
You're starting off with the nut game here.
Which one?
Oh, Miami-Baltimore is the game of the week in every way. And real
Miami-Buffalo, you mean?
What did I say?
Miami-Baltimore.
I meant Miami-Buffalo. Miami-Baltimore would be great also. You can start it off, but I can tell you what I'm going to do with this game. I will be way overweight on everything.
Oh, you like this one, huh?
I don't even think there's even like a comparative close one. They did let us down last year in the same matchup. I remember it pretty clearly because I wanted to play it after the the truth is the way that these guys are playing in Miami, I think we just have to load up every time. I really do. They would have put up 1 million extra points for us because the Akane or whatever and Mostert getting the 8 touchdowns between them. Definitely threw things off, but I was into the Miami stack. That ended up being that Tua was my highest owned quarterback last week. Hill was my highest owned receiver by the end of the week. So I was very into it. Now, what are you going to do here? Because it's really, the hard thing is it's really hard to afford the pieces you want in this game.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to play this one.
Why do you want to play this game?
Yeah, I don't know. I like other ones better. I don't know what to tell you.
Like who?
I like other ones better. I don't know what to tell you here. I mean, it's definitely a good game. I mean, you have two of the top teams, but I mean, the difference between Buffalo's defense and what Miami's been up against. I mean, I don't know. I can't see Miami doing. Listen, they're coming off 70 points. You think I'm playing Miami this week? You got it out of your mind. I'm not doing that. Buffalo on the other side, and Miami has a pretty good defense. Yeah, and my early looks are not really getting me there. So if you're telling me this is like the key big game, I'm probably going to be pretty contrarian. So we'll see. But listen, obviously, Tyreek Hill is going to look like a good play. Who's going to be good for the Bills? I guess Josh Allen himself. Is Waddle going to be back? I presume Waddle. I presume anything. I don't know if Waddle's.
Yeah, he should be back.
Yeah. So I definitely think this will be a good game, but I don't know. I think I'm going to do other things. We'll see. I know. It's going to be a Saturday, Sunday, and then they're like, oh, I'm all over Buffalo, Miami. I'm doing this, like everybody else. My first look, I'm just telling you that I just didn't get to that.
Yep.
And neither when I did my contest sim video, I didn't get to them either. So I got some other teams. I don't know what's wrong with me this week.
No, it's fine. I mean, hey, it's whatever you want to do. I think this is by far the best game, and it's the best game I think we've had so far. I don't think there's any lineups as of right now. I'm not planning to have any lineups where I don't have at least one player in this game. I just think it's so significantly better than every other spot. I don't even agree that Buffalo's defense is anything all that special. They got to play Washington, which was the easiest blowout pick ever. I don't think Washington's any good either. So I am very, very high on it. It's just going to be a matter of how can we fit them in. If you play Tyreek Hill, you might need to run it back with Gabe Davis because it's really hard to play Diggs and Hill. I think Tua is the best quarterback on the slate. I think Josh Allen's the second best quarterback on the slate. So I've got everything here as the absolute nuts. And look, if it burns me, that's totally fine with me. I do better when I tend to really, really harness in on one spot rather than spreading out. And that is what I'm going to be doing this week. And I love the value. Like if Craycraft is in, I love Craycraft at 3,300. If he's out, I love Berrios at 3,600. I would even probably throw some Cedric Wilson lineups in if he's out. Durham Smythe, you get the cheap tight end at 3K. And both tight ends are viable for Buffalo. Knox and Kincaid, I would lean Kincaid a little bit, but it's not that much. And I even think the running backs, like I think Mostert and Cook are the obvious ones. But are people? The thing is, well, we could say this a Connie thing or whatever. I can never pronounce his name right. We could say it's an outlier, but I saw this guy play, and I saw him play in college too. That guy is incredibly talented. If he gets any open space, and because Miami runs that motion offense, I could see him bouncing right back and doing it again this week. So I have everything from this game as being interesting, and that's pretty much, that's going to be a huge portion of what I do this week. So we can move on to the next one if you want.
Yeah, sure. What do you have next?
Minnesota, Carolina. I'll just follow yours here. I'm trying.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I like Minnesota here. They looked really good last week. They look really good this week. Carolina's, it's obviously doesn't rate to be nearly as high of a scoring game, but nonetheless, I do like Minnesota here. So that's going to be one of my. Listen, slot. If the slate locked today, that'd be one of the top 5 that I would have. And it's pretty much all I got. And on the other side of this, what's his name had a nice game, Thielen. So I could play Thielen and Shark yeah. So Minnesota right now and the Carolina Runbacks.
Yeah, I'm in on the idea of a little Minnesota. I probably will hit my head against the wall and go back to Madison. I know he was fine last week, but man, if you watch that Minnesota game at all, Madison should have had like 4 touchdowns and he had 0. Like it was bizarre that the plays, he dropped 2 balls. He fumbled one of them. Like it looked like a very bizarre thing. And you have Cam Akers coming along this week, so we'll see how much they let him play. I don't know what they're going to do in that situation. So maybe it keeps me off of Madison somewhat. Obviously, I don't think I need to say Justin Jefferson's name almost because we all know that Justin Jefferson is one of the best plays on the slate one of the top scoring plays every week. As I always mention, Jordan Addison and KJ Osborne are viable backups. So is Hawkinson. The only problem I'm having here is I know they gave a lot of points in Seattle's last week, partly because they threw the ball 50 times and it just gave they just had to have their defense on the field so much. I'm still not sure they're a bad defense, but I think the Vikings throw the ball enough to where it's okay. And I'll include the Vikings passing attack. I probably won't play Cousins with it. And I like Thielen on the other side, and that's pretty much it for the game for me. I guess you could make an argument for Miles Sanders. I am always the guy who's underweight on Miles Sanders, but maybe this week is not such a bad play. So Sanders and Madison are both fringy plays for me. All right. What do you got next?
I have Denver, Chicago next.
Okay, this is kind of an interesting
one. And I don't really have too much to offer as far as this game goes. I have a little bit, at least an early look of the Javonte Williams from Denver. Aside from that, I really don't have too much here. You like Justin Fields? You like anything here?
Let's see if they let Justin Fields start again.
That was a tough spot.
These have been the 2 worst defenses in the NFL.
Yep.
It feels like we're supposed to do something here. I think I'm going to try to get something in. I don't know what that's going to be. I probably will lean a little bit of a Fields. I like the whole game. I'm going to have pieces of the game. I'll lean a little bit of the fields with DJ Moore. I'll throw in a little bit of Cortland Sutton on the backside, who also almost had a monster game last week, and still had a very good game. But Sutton, they seem to look for him quite a bit. And just don't be surprised if by come Sunday that that Russell Wilson may no longer be the quarterback or something. I'm just not sure. Both these quarterbacks seem suspect to me to even. If I'm the Bears, I'm sticking with Fields until at least through the season. But they both have. There's plenty of reasons to bench both of them. And then Javonte Williams as a running back, I don't mind. So this is a game that I do have as one of my stacks of the week.
Wow, there you go.
Yeah. Baltimore, Cleveland. Oof. Dude, I can go quickly on this one. I don't think you're playing anything in this game offensively. Personally, I can't. I love Lamar. You guys know how much I love Lamar. You could make an argument that maybe a solo Lamar stack might make some sense because of how much pressure Cleveland gets on the quarterback, and Lamar in those situations is really good at escaping. You got like the price on Cooper and Flowers, but I think this game is going to end up being nearly a cross-off, with the exception that Mark Andrews is getting to the point where he's so cheap, we might just have to price and force him in. So no real interest for me, which is really weird. The first time I haven't had interest in a Baltimore game this year. But I probably am off this one.
Yeah, Baltimore was missing Odell last week. I don't know if they're going to be missing him this week. Baltimore is okay. I mean, like I said, like you said, Cleveland's no joke. I mean, that Myles Garrett's is freaking ridiculous.
Yeah, no joke.
But Baltimore like okay. Like, listen, I think I kind of need Odell back. It's kind of silly to say, but that would be nice to have him back. Mark Andrews kind of. What's that?
Oh, I just didn't think of him as making much of a difference, but
no, I know that's why it seems a little silly to say.
He's their third or fourth wide receiver.
I think Mark Andrews was pretty invisible last week. I mean, he had 5 targets, but I mean,
yeah, the game script has kind of been against the Baltimore explosive stuff. They sort of trying to control these games.
They've been pounding the ball. You know?
Yeah, and they control these games. They get up and they run, and they run unsuccessfully, and then next thing you know, it's a tie game, and they end up losing one.
Yep. So I'm kind of with you. I'm kind of off of that. Let me see. Is there any one-offs from here? No, I'm not really getting too much out of this.
Yep. All right. Let's see what else we got. Pittsburgh, Houston next.
Yeah, let's go with this one. I mean, this is. I thought this might be the nut game. I don't know. We got the.
I can't tell if you're joking or not.
No. Are you kidding? You watching this team? You're good, man. You got.
I was on Houston. I had Houston to cover last week.
Pickett and no, I'm talking about Pittsburgh for openers.
Oh.
Pickett with Pickens and that guy Austin. I mean, he had a deep one. I mean, he's going places, and Freiermuth. I like all of that against Houston, and I like the Houston offense too. I like the Tank Dell and Collins or whatever. Pittsburgh's kind of tough, defensively, but I love this game. I like this a lot. I can't quite figure out which running back Pittsburgh actually likes the most between those two guys. I think Warren is the more productive, if you want to know the truth. But I wouldn't play either of the running backs there. But I think Pickett looked great. I think Pickens looks great. I like this Austin kid, and Freiermuth also. I don't know. I kind of like this game. This is one of my. This is not my favorite, but one of my top 3 of the day, if you want to know the truth.
I like Pickens, and I like, the idea of maybe playing one of Dell or Collins. Nothing else for me here.
Okay.
And I just wouldn't play roulette with the running backs. None of them have been productive enough. It's pretty clear to me that Jaylen Warren is, like you said, the more productive. But one thing to keep in mind, Najee Harris is running so many obvious design plays. It's really more of a coaching thing, and I actually love the coach, but he's getting hit behind the line of scrimmage every single time he's touched the ball. Like it's basically like he has to try and bust 3 tackles to get 2 yards. So yeah, it's really Pickens for me, and never going to have an issue with Freiermuth. And who would have thought the Texans? Look, I was a Stroud guy. He was my favorite quarterback in the draft. I thought Bryce Young would go number one. I still think Bryce Young will be fine in the long run. But I really like Stroud, and I think he's made for the NFL, and he's certainly proved it so far. So, but mostly this is going to be, I think, a lower scoring game, and I have a ton of respect for Pittsburgh's defense. So I'm not going to get too much exposure there. I love that we're on such different pages. Maybe we'll see if that lasts throughout the week.
Yeah.
Is it my Rams at Indy?
Yeah, nice win.
Nice win. They lost.
Oh, they ended up losing that?
Yeah.
Oh, they did. No. What I meant. Okay. So here's my problem with that. So what's his name from the Raiders took all this heat for kicking that field goal? I don't know what the freaking Niners, what the Rams are doing, freaking punting down 10.
I was with you on that. What the hell was that?
With like 6 minutes to go or something like that.
And then you run a running play when you're trying to score at the end. But
it's ridiculous because listen, they got exactly what they wanted, right? They got the 3 and out, and yet still they're trying to go an onside kick. You know what I mean? Like, what's the point? You know, it's like they were almost trying to cover the teaser or something. I don't know what that was. So I was not impressed with that. I just as a matter of disclosure, before I inputted my my own projections in here, and I just ran stuff with SaberSim just to see what it looked like, it was getting me the Colts here. But I have a feeling it's because of Moss, because Moss is actually showing up as a really good play. He's like the whole running back committee right now. So, and I definitely think that Moss is going to be one of the more popular, not the most popular running back. It's just a really, really good price for someone who's getting all the work. So I like him. Not getting too much of anything else. Boy, they really they don't mess around. They put Pakua up to like 6,700. So I'm probably off of pretty much this whole game with the exception of Moss.
I like Williams at least as much as Moss.
Okay.
And that's my biggest take, I guess. You could talk me into Higbee. You could talk me into. I don't know who's starting for the Colts. If Richardson starts, I have a commitment to play him like a little bit every week, just because I think the upside is the same as it is with like Lamar, and you're getting a discount and no one plays him. And I don't mind using him with Pittman. Pittman's a really good receiver and has been really, really good with them so far, considering the fact that his touchdown variance has not gotten there for him yet, but it will. I like Williams, and I like Nakua, actually. I don't have any problems using him. And Cincy, they did a pretty good job against him. It was more Atwell getting the looks, partly a little revenge game or whatever Atwell's from there. I like Nakua a little bit. I like Williams a little bit. I like Moss a little bit, but nobody massive priority for me at the moment.
So Tampa, New Orleans. I guess these fantasy DFS people might finally get their wish. They might get Jameis Winston season. Carr is listed week to week. Winston led the charge, I think. I don't know if they actually got there at the end. I don't think
he did. I don't think nothing he did anything.
Yeah, I know, but the DFS people love Jameis Winston. They can't wait to play Jameis Winston, and they're going to get a shot to play Jameis Winston.
It's the right matchup for it. I'll tell you that.
What's that?
The right matchup. Because you can throw the ball in this Tampa Bay.
Yeah. So and I know. Listen, I know where I'm throwing the ball to. I think between Olave and Thomas and even some Shaheed. Maybe I'll be a chump and do it. You know what I mean? Like it has to be like higher owned than it's supposed to be, just because I know that it's only Tuesday, so who knows? I just have this weird feeling that like Jameis Winston becomes like the big play in the dome as well. Not to mention, and like you said, if you're telling me Tampa is like a team you can throw against nowadays, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Right now, I'm not getting them as any of my runs or anything, but it could be another one where I just buy the hype and just kind of go with it. I don't know. I have to see, but it's certainly gonna be. I imagine gonna be talked about as a good play. How about that?
Yeah. So it should be a bump theoretically to. I don't know. It's not like Carr doesn't throw the ball, but in terms of taking chances, that's what you want for when you're playing these expensive receivers. And Olave like should benefit in some, at least have a chance at benefiting. And Michael Thomas, who's been steady Eddie, this could be a big spot for him. So I'm good with all that. I'm good. I don't think I need to play Jameis even, to be honest with you, if I want to play their receivers. But I could. And I just don't, I don't love the prices on the run backs. Mike Evans is expensive now. Tough matchup, very tough matchup for all these guys. I believe in the Saints defense, and my personal take would be similar to what I said about Philadelphia last night against Tampa Bay. I think Tampa Bay gets absolutely housed. I think that they look horrible on offense, and I think that might be the thing that kills Jameis Winston, because Kamara could be back as well.
Oh, really? Okay.
I don't know how much they're going to let him go, but Kendrick Miller was also their rookie that they drafted. So there's a lot of ways for this to fail, but that's why I would focus on the receivers for the big plays, maybe one of Thomas or Olave. And I just think that Tampa is going to get thrashed here. I think this.
What do you think about Kamara here? It says he's officially reinstated from suspension. It says he figures to step into a key role immediately. Is this going to look like the best play of the year? I mean, him at 6,100? I don't know.
It was 6,100, but at the same time, like, this is the second best run defense over the past 4 years, and they're basically the same guys there. Mm-hmm. They did give up some to Swift, but that was partly because they had to worry about Hurts all the time. So they're not going to worry the same way about Winston. I think they'll be begging for Winston to take some chances because that's they're an opportunistic defense, and that's what they're going to try and do. Yeah, I mean, we'll see if Kamara. We'll make sure that. For some reason, Saberson doesn't have him in. I don't know why. But he should get a good run. But they're going to play Tony Jones and Miller. I just don't think his first game back, they're going to let him get all the carries right away. That's my take. They don't do it anyway, so I don't expect them to do it on the first week back. All right, what do we got next?
Washington, Philly. You could start with this one if you want.
Yeah, it's just I'm just bouncing around because they're all different, organized on mine. I think Philly's going to beat the hell out of them. Don't expect this game to be all that competitive. I know Washington. I don't care about defenses against Philadelphia. They're too good. Everybody's in play. Nobody's going to be a priority for me. And maybe you could, by the end of the week, I'll talk myself into McLaurin or Dotson. And as of right now, I'm not going to be talking myself into it. So I'm not all that high on this game. Never going to argue if anybody wants to stack Philadelphia, but I am probably not going to this week. Goddard too cheap.
Yeah, I'm gonna talk myself into these guys right away. They're the Washington guys.
I love it. Me and you literally couldn't be more further apart this week.
Yeah, I'm gonna talk myself into those guys, and I'm gonna put this game into the sneaky category. Obviously, I'm not worried about Philadelphia scoring, right? If you play this game, you obviously have to worry about Washington scoring. That's just the cross you bear here. But if they do, right, and then Philadelphia gets the stamp going too, and then you get a couple of backdoor. I don't know. I know where the Washington production is going with McLaurin and Dotson. And listen, Philadelphia has just been there. They've had life pretty easy. If you want to know the truth.
I gotta defend that one. I don't agree with that.
No,
they went to they played just one on the road, a 2-0 team. They started the season in New England in weather.
No, I don't mean that. I just mean like they haven't really been like, you know what I mean? Like the games have been kind of in control. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But I didn't. But
no, I'm not saying they haven't been.
Oh, great. I got you. I thought you were saying that they had.
I'm just thinking about this game. You know, they just went on. They basically toyed with their names last night, right?
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
And then another game, home against Washington. You know, Washington's. You know, they just got freaking shut out pretty much by Buffalo. Brought them back to earth after being 2-0. I don't know. I could just see Washington getting off to a lead here and making this game interesting. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. Listen, I played the obvious narratives 3 weeks in a row. Haven't been competitive. So maybe we'll try to get the non-competitive narratives.
I like it, yeah.
And see what happens. So while I'll root for Buffalo Miami to be like a really, really awesome football game.
17
which is like 24-17 or something.
Yeah.
And then I'll root for like the Washington Philly shit show. You know what I mean? To be like 42-20 Philadelphia at the end of the day. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
So I'll play some Washington, I'll play some Phillies, and I'll lose that way instead of losing with the other guys, I think.
Yep. All right. Let's move over to Cincinnati, Tennessee. That was not the one I had. That's actually the first one that popped up for me, just to give you a feel for how much I'm bouncing around.
I tried to.
No, I appreciate it.
No, Cincinnati's Tennessee. When I tried, it looked like I was going to get the false victory lap. Now, the false victory lap, what that would have meant was, you guys remember my hot take was that basically Jerome Ford breaks the slate at low ownership. But what I actually said was that he was going to get 150 scrimmage yards, which he didn't get. He got basically 2 touchdowns kind of handed to him, So he didn't really break the slate, but it was really good. You know what I mean? 19, 20 points, whatever it was. So we have another shot for Butt Bongo Fiesta to get in an argument with me, because we're gonna play Mixon against the run funnel this week. It wasn't bad enough to play Ford against the run funnel last week. We're gonna play Mixon against the run funnel this week. So he's one of my top running backs on the slate. And that's that. I'm not getting to the Cincinnati passing game really, although actually that's not true. I do have the Cincinnati passing game being one of the better ideas. So yeah, I think all of Cincinnati here I kind of like, and the Tennessee side not too much. We have 2 different slates, is what you're saying, right? You and me?
Something's wrong with the projections early on, and it always happens, but Joe Mixon should not be projected as high as he is. Okay, so I know what's going to happen in this game. And it's going to be that they are a run funnel team. Anybody who watched Joe Burrow play last night, it's very clear that he can't do anything. So all they focused on with him is he went from a guy who held the ball the longest to now the guy who's the quickest released in the NFL, because it's all he can do. So it's going to be a lot of little underneath plays to Boyd. It's going to be a lot of little bubble screens for Jamar Chase, and it's going to be probably a little less Higgins. But they're going to throw the ball a lot, and there's the PPR side of it. It's interesting to try and take advantage of the Tyler Boyd side of it.
Yeah, I like that.
I will probably have exposure to all 3 receivers, and also Chase can turn those little dinkers into he breaks one for 80 yards. That ends up looking really good when you have 10 or 12 catches for 180 and a touchdown. Like that's good enough for me. So I'm into to these guys a little bit, and I am on the side that I think Derrick Henry is getting cheap enough to where we should start forcing him in.
Is he under 7 yet?
He's 7.
Okay.
So I actually have Derrick Henry as a little bit of a priority. Now, the way I would stack this game, though, is I would if I played even 2 receivers from Cincinnati and 1 running back and the Henry from Tennessee, what I would do is I would definitely use another quarterback, because I just don't know that Burrow has enough upside as long as things keep going like this. It's going to be a short week for them, another must-win situation, so he'll be out there. But I just want to point out that it's very clear that he can't move right, and they are trying to get the ball out of his hands as fast as possible. All right. Now we get into the other big game.
Yeah, we have 3 late games, and this is the one I thought was going to be the top game, at least projection wise and stuff. And it's not disappointing. Both Vegas and the Chargers are looking really good. Now what's important is the question of who's playing for Vegas,
right? Because
Garoppolo is legit in concussion protocol, and Brian Hoyer has just got to be a downgrade. That's just, if I presume they go to him and not the Notre Dame guy, whatever. So we definitely have to watch that. The other observation I made from the Vegas game is that Devontae Adams is really good.
He might be the best receiver in the league, and he doesn't get any credit.
I mean, and the other thing I noticed in that game, which I really don't know why I didn't see this in when I played the DFS in this game, was that Jacoby Myers was just like mega targeted. You know what I mean? Yeah. Maybe it didn't amount to as many as I thought it was, but it looked as though whenever
12 targets, man.
It was 12, right?
Yeah.
So he's it's those 2. That's really the deal. So when you have concentrated targets and you have Jacoby Myers at 5,500, and the Chargers, those games never seem to disappoint. as long as you're comfortable with the person delivering the ball to them, the Vegas side of this looks really, really good. And the Chargers on the other side would, would look really, really good too. I think I was expecting, well, I guess they put the projections out a little early. I mean, Keenan Allen just simply deserves a bigger salary than this, right? So he's 7,900. Mike Williams is out with an ACL, which probably makes Keenan Allen more like a $9,500 guy. Okay. And then we have, who's next? We'll watch for one of these guys has to be a good play. I don't know exactly who it is yet, but I think Josh Palmer, whoever gets the reps, whatever, we'll know pretty quickly. And then whether to play either or both of these guys, Gerald Everett or Donald Parham. So this game to me is the chalk that makes just a lot of sense. I don't know if Eckler's going to be back. Might be back to Kelly again, and obviously nobody appreciates what Kelly's done to their lineups. The last couple of weeks, people have played them, but Vegas is a little different animal. So yeah, this game is gonna it definitely rates to deliver. If you didn't play in the 1 o'clock games, you'll play in the 4 o'clock games. Actually, the 4 o'clock games play the late slate. This might be too chalky if you want to know the truth.
And you've got the cool thing is with the Chargers, you always have a million ways to get different because they run the same goal line play for Donald Parham every freaking week, and he's their backup tight end. So you use that guy in the afternoon slate. You use Quentin Johnston instead of Josh Palmer in the afternoon slate. A lot of ways to get different within the game. So I like this game a ton. Eckler, it should be back. That's partially why I think that you don't jump Keenan Allen's price too much.
Okay.
That was pretty crazy. Also, as good as this matchup is, I don't know. Vegas, the Chargers, and Minnesota, they all sort of hold the thing for nobody's ever going to surprise me by catching 20 balls or running for 200 yards. I think Josh Jacobs is he's been terrible. This is the nut matchup, basically. One of them, you can take the running back against the Chargers and feel totally good about it. I feel very good about the idea of using Jacobs. I feel very good about using Devontae where I'm not using Jacobs, and I'm fine with the Kobe Myers, as you mentioned. He's getting a lot of looks this year. They were throwing the ball an awful lot last week, so I wouldn't necessarily count on that happening again, especially if Garoppolo's out. But I want exposure to all those guys, and then I want one of Palmer or Quentin Johnston. I like Keenan Allen still. I like Eckler, assuming that he's back. And Gerald Everett would get a boost to me without Mike Williams too. So Gerald Everett's getting a little more involved in the passing game. Had 6 catches last week. So the problem is the Parham snakes the touchdowns. Otherwise, Gerald Everett looks like a genius play. And last week, instead, it was just sort of meh. But this is the game number 2 for me. And I can already tell you right now that I'm almost guaranteed to be betting the over in a 47.5 game that feels like it should be 50. It feels like it should be like 53. All right.
I think that's a pretty fair over/under for the first half. I don't think that's
all right. So what up next? New England, Dallas.
So you have Dallas coming off of that loss to Arizona.
By the way, how about that call, Sheets?
Yep.
That was my bold call.
Yep. You have Dallas coming off that loss to Arizona, which really kind of means bad news for New England in general. I'm not really getting to the passing game over there, and I'm really not getting to the running game either. But I just have this feeling that Dallas just hammers them, and if they do, you're gonna kind of want some of it. I don't know exactly how to. I mean, listen, if you play that way, you play Prescott, you play CeeDee Lamb, you play Ferguson or whoever, Gallup if he's in, whatever, and just play for 40 points, which I think it's the wrong team to make that call against, obviously, because New England's always been stingy, whatever. But it just feels like that's what's going to happen. But as far as the projections go, not really getting too much. I will throw one thing again. This is kind of a football observation, which is probably not particularly off the board because it was just really obvious. Not in main slate, maybe not in late slate either, but maybe in late slate. But certainly if you somehow play showdown, this dude from Dallas is good. That running back, that Dowdle, He's really, really good. He's not in a position, you know what I mean, like to take over in a main slate, you know, whatever. But he's good, and like I'll just kind of leave it at that. So if I'm playing like the late slate, he's definitely getting in there, especially if like Dallas is gonna get to them a little bit, you know. So that's my opinion on this game.
The only issue I have with the Dowdle play and the thing, and maybe you could do it both and pull a Squirrel Patrol, but if you're gonna the afternoon slate, the one guy I know I'm playing is Ezekiel Elliott. Because you get the backup running back going back to Dallas. Are you kidding me? I'm going to take advantage of that. And he got the most work last week. So he got a ton of work last week. So I will play the Zeke in this one. For the main slate, Pollard is really the only one who super stands out to me. I have no problem anytime anybody wants to play CeeDee Lamb. Michael Gallup is cheap, certainly going to be on my consideration list, but nothing that really stands out and screams like, oh, I need to play these guys. So I am probably just going to stick with Pollard. And I'm sure they're expensive, but the Cowboys defense always in play, obviously. So
hot take parlay. Hot take parlay. Ezekiel Elliott at like the first possession, like fumbles the ball, and then Belichick benches him in Dallas.
How about that? Why not?
And then Zeke quits the team like the next day.
Yeah, then Zeke pulls an Antonio Brown and just walks off the field.
Right, yeah, he doesn't even wait till the end of the game.
Right.
Leaves the game. But yeah, I mean, obviously Zeke, you know, it's going to be motivated or whatever. But
yeah,
it's the wrong team to be. It's the wrong defense to be motivated against. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. All right. So now we've got the finisher. I guess why don't you jump into it? Because I'll just do my little sum up afterwards.
I mean, I think it's the same. I think it's the same thing. Well, it's not exactly the same. Like Arizona's coming off of the big win. I mean, San Francisco rates to put a kind of a San Francisco beating on them. You know what I mean? Like
they're a 14-point favorite, which is pretty
like
easy.
A grinding, you know, like maybe at the end of the first quarter it's only like 7-3. You're like, ooh, Arizona's in it, but they're really never in it. You know what I mean? Like it's like, and then next thing you know, it's 17-3 at the half, and then the game's really over. And then the next thing you know, it's 31-3, and then like you know what I mean? So this is those are the San Francisco 14 the way they cover 14. They don't get off to the 21-0 lead. You know what I mean? Like Philadelphia does. So obviously McCaffrey is a good play. But this is one of those games where everybody's going to probably eat. You know what I mean? Like they're probably going to let everybody get a little piece. You know, I see questionables in both Samuel and Ayuk. I don't know what all that means, but between those two and Kittle and McCaffrey, I mean, and even Mitchell, maybe they have 5 touchdowns and all five of them get one. I don't know. I don't think Arizona can press them enough to get in some big shootout or anything like that. And I am not going to be playing anybody from Arizona. I wonder what San Francisco's defense is, like 6K in this game. I mean, yeah, something like that. Like 4,700. I mean, that's certainly going to be contrarian to play them at 4,700. But I mean, they'll put up 15 and 16 and not be good enough at 4,700 probably.
Right. Yeah, this is a really tough one for Arizona. This matchup just feels like a blowout. But so I like McCaffrey. There's been some questions about Brock Purdy lately. Maybe they let him get going a little bit more in this game, just as a way to think about it, you know, because I don't think they're going to be overly pressured. I like McCaffrey, but I like the other guys who are cheaper than him, like maybe a little bit better, just because I probably need the salary if I'm going to try and play Buffalo and Miami. I like Debo always. I said I'm going to play Debo like crazy until he's 7K. So the DraftKings, of course, had a good laugh and made him 6,900. So I'm still going to have to play him. And I will play a little bit of Ayuk and Kittle as well. I think that they can probably do what they want. And my thinking is just that they're going to try and get some stuff going for Purdy. And I think that this is a game where if it was just one of those short slate things, and by the way, we were right in that last the Monday night game. Eli Mitchell, he had 11 carries and 3 targets. You know what I mean? He got a lot of the work, and I think you're going to see more of that this week in a control.
Yeah, when you have the opportunity to rest McCaffrey, it's probably a good idea to do it.
Yep. And then just real quick, so I've got my highlighted games are Miami, Buffalo, and Vegas and Chargers. Nobody really close. Denver, Chicago is my next most interested one. I love the tight pool. I've had like 10 stacks I want to play every week. This week I've got 2.5. And some individual plays. Derrick Henry, Josh Jacobs, Austin Eckler, Pollard. I have that as both Williams, Kyron, and Javonte. Tua and Allen are my favorite quarterbacks. Favorite receivers, all mostly from the Miami game, both cheap and expensive. Then we get, I do like the Chase or Boyd thing. And then Devontae Adams, and one of Josh Palmer or Quentin Johnston. And tight ends, I just think they're all the underpriced ones for me. Andrews, Goddard, Freiermuth, some Everett, and then maybe Zach Ertz from that last game. But that's sort of what I'm looking at this week.
Yeah, that would be the only. I forgot to mention that would be the only play I would have from Arizona from that game would be Ertz, who's rated as the top early
point per dollar
play, whatever. Obviously, a lot of, not a lot of touchdown upside in this game for him. Anyway, I would add to the Chargers Vegas game a couple of my off the board ideas, that being Pittsburgh Houston, that being Washington Philly. I guess those are the key ones that are not going to be too popular. So Pittsburgh Houston and Washington Philly. And Minnesota, Carolina. I don't know, if that game is going to be. I mean, Jefferson always looks like a great player.
No, but I think you're right. I don't think people are going to play it much.
So those are the three that I would get off of the the Vegas Chargers. And again, Bobby, I'll ask you in advance. We have to think about this. But if they make Hoyer the quarterback, is that going to temper your enthusiasm for the skill guys on the Raiders?
I don't. Yeah, maybe a little bit.
Yeah.
It's not going to have. I don't know how huge of an impact it's really going to have. To be honest, I mean, it's not like they have a gunslinger in what's his name, Garoppolo. It's not like this guy puts up big numbers.
But in that game, I mean, Jacoby Myers is a really, really good price considering what I saw. You know what I mean? Yeah,
I hear you. I mean, but then again, you have Devontae Adams on the same team, so it kind of is interesting to maybe get that stack in. If there's a team you could do it with Hoyer against, it would be this Charger team. Or
like you said, you do like you said before, you play Adams with Myers and run it back with Lamar or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly, something like that. Or Anthony Richardson if he could play.
Right.
All right. Well, good luck, everybody. It's a long week. I'll get my content up a little bit later this week. Rody and I also be doing a pick show. I also may have a guest, which I'm going to try and figure out for another show.
Who are we getting?
Was that?
Who are we getting?
No, I'm going to try to talk one of my buddy Matt into it. I don't know if he'll do it. And Beldman.
Okay.
But I haven't talked to him about it yet. I just thought it'd be fun to try and have him on if he's not doing too much of the other stuff.
Stay on with me after you go off live.
All right. Good luck, everybody.